much crossover do you think we're going to have?
I think we're going to have 6 crossovers on this one. Get wrecked.
I'll go 5.
5?
You played more games than me.
I did play more games than
Yeah.
you. What we're talking about is Game Discoveries 2021. Let's get after it.
3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
And this is our top 10 game discovery. So this is new to us games.
Right.
These are games that did not come out this year, but
Right.
in previous years that we played for the first time this year.
We are going to get to the top 10 games of 2021. You better believe
It's
that.
like a week or so
That's
is when it's
coming
coming out?
very
Yeah.
soon. But we're talking about the games that we finally got a chance to play.
Yes.
New or old, but not from 2021.
Yeah, and we'll say that I'm happy with how many games we've gotten to play this year that are older, because mostly we play games that are older are at conventions, in like friend groups, and at like game nights, none of which have been really happening.
We
for the
have
last
no
2
friends.
years. That's true. So despite that, we've been able to play some newer games and even some older games, not just from the previous year. So that's
newer
pretty
to
darn
us.
cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it with our number 10s. So this one we actually have separate lists. We decided to do separate lists for this one. And
Hence
so
the crossover.
the conversation,
yes.
indeed. My number 10 is Too Many Bones.
I respect it.
Too Many Bones.
It's on my short list.
Yeah. This is a game that, it's a big game by Chip Theory Games that I've always really wanted to play. We finally got to play it. It's my number 10 because we've only played it once, and the play we had of it was fine, but I still think about it all the time. I'm still very intrigued. I would love to get this game and just play it like solo so I could really dive in, because I feel like a lot of Chip Theory games are like this, like Cloudspire is that way too, where it's like you need to
mine.
Yeah, you need to like play the game and really get it, figure out the system, and then it just really like you really understand the value of this whole system. And this is one thing, like one play I don't think is enough. So I did enjoy it, but I think it'll climb the ranks more because it's like not my top 100 or anything like that, you know. So it's like I think it would potentially be my top 100 games if I got to play it more, which we don't have the game, so I haven't had a chance to play it more. But no, this is my number 10. I did enjoy it, but I want to dive in more.
I dig that. My number 10 is Lords of Waterdeep. Got
That's right,
to
you
play
finally
a
got to play this one.
classic worker placement game, so that now, if ever we do a worker placement game and it's not on that list, you're like, well, yeah, but I have tried it. Everyone says you got to play Lords of Waterdeep. You got to try it.
And he did it.
It's the worker placement game that created all worker placement games. And I get why it has that love. It is a classic game.
Yeah.
It's all in D&D theming, but it's just colorful cubes that you're turning in to fulfill contracts. So it's really basic kind of resource management
Cubes
stuff.
on cubes, yeah.
It's fairly accessible. I like that when you start the game, there's only so many action spaces, but as you go, more action spaces get created. That's interesting, but it's all like pretty baseline level accessible stuff, especially with some expansions. It's really fun. I played it digitally. Lords of Waterdeep is my number 10.
All right, let's get number 9s. My number 9 features a big old bird. It's called the Dodo.
The Dodo.
The Dodo. So this is a game that I don't believe is available in the States, unfortunately, but we played this over with Lincoln and Nikki from Board Game Geek at their place. This is this game by Cosmos. It's this really weird game where you build out this like big like 3D tower. At the top there's a dodo, and the dodo lays an egg, and the dodo's going extinct. So you got to save the dodo's egg because you're trying to keep this species alive. We failed. But nonetheless, this egg is full of like molasses or something very heavy, viscous liquid, because it's all on a big ramp and it very slowly inches its way down the ramp and it, boom, goes on a plank, and these planks go around the mountain. And basically what you're trying to do is trying to get the egg around the mountain and into a boat so you can go take it to safety and stuff like that. But the problem is all the planks aren't there. So there's a bit of a memory game where you are rolling dice and it'll have some kind of symbol and you'll need to turn over 2 of that same symbol because it's a kid's game. And once you find 2, you then get to put it on a little thing, and then once you fill out the certain needed amount of those matches, you then get to put another platform onto the mountain.
Build the planks as the egg
Yeah, because
rolls
it's only
around.
like one, but the dodo's egg moves, like most times it's slow, but sometimes it'll also just like speed up really quickly, and also you're like, oh, and you start, and it gets really,
Sometimes
really
it
frantic.
stops for a second. You're like,
is it moving? And also it goes like, you're like, oh God, we gotta keep going. And so it's really, really fun. It's very silly. It's a kid's game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's coming to the States, but if you get a chance to play, especially
hell
like
of a
con,
production.
it's so much fun. It's the perfect con game for silly adults to play. It's really, really fun. I like to go to a lot.
You get stressed out trying to find those matches. My number 9 is a small card game that doesn't say very small because it spreads out all over the table. It's called Bandido.
This game's good.
This is a game all about a criminal trying to dig their way out of prison. And you, as the police, are trying to cut off all of those paths so they can no longer escape. And now this is easier said than done because a lot of the cards that you're playing, and you have to kind of Carcassonne it and make the paths make sense. You can't have weird dead ends and stuff. True. A lot of the cards have like 3 or 4 different exits on there. You're trying to have less exits. Yeah. And sometimes you only have 2 exits. You play a card, now you have 4 exits. Yeah. You play a card, now you have 8 or something.
It gets out of hand real quick.
And so it swings to like, and that's what's so fun about the game is like you might be on the verge of success. You're like, if you have one little security guard with a flashlight, dead end, we're done. We're good. You're like, I don't have that card. I have this very worst card.
I'm about to blow it open right now.
You know, but then also it swings to almost being successful within a couple turns because they have the exact perfect cards.
Yeah, the roller coaster ride of this game is really satisfying for that reason because again, like you will go from having 1 exit and 3 turns later you have 10. And you're just like, oh my gosh. And then you work it out where you start closing them down again. And then someone's like, I literally only have a 4 exit card. Sorry. Bam. And then it's just like, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Good, light little card game. It's small enough that you can put it in your pocket and take it anywhere. You need some space to play, but it's a great game that like it's just no rules whatsoever. Yeah. It's very easy to explain. That's my number 9, Bandido.
All right, let's go ahead and get number 8. Number 8 is a great game if you want to make new gamers. That is Project L. I'm assuming it'll probably be on Mike's list as well. Project L is a stripped down game, no theme. They're not even trying, which again, in this case, I appreciate. Usually I don't appreciate that. Yep. But this is a game where you have these little dual thick cards, which have like an inset and they'll have some kind of shape, some kind of big blob shape. And then you are going to have these acrylic kind of like Tetris-y type pieces. Yeah, and you're essentially putting them into the shape, trying to fill it in. When you fill it in completely, you will then get to keep that card and that card will give you points. And that card will also give you another piece. So you're slowly collecting pieces throughout the game and you're just filling in these shapes. That's it. You're trying to score the most points. And that's the whole game. This is a game that is so darn simple. And it's such a great little like filler game and such a great game to play with like non-gamers. If you have family members who like have no interest in playing any kind of game, you're like, look, this game is kind of like Tetris. It's super easy. You can teach it in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's so good.
There's no like wondering about stuff. You know if you succeeded in building the puzzle because it'll be completely filled in because of that dual layered the cards. It makes it very easy and satisfying.
Yeah, and it's just great production. It's really, really good. And again, this is a game to play with non-gamers. Maybe one of the best. It's so good.
Yeah, it's super duper solid. My number 8 is a solo game called Coffee Roaster. Oh, so we be liking coffee, Nick.
I'm drinking coffee right now.
You're drinking coffee right now. You got to brew the coffee. You want to have a nice, rich, robust flavor, but you don't want to burn it and stuff. That's no good. And this game is a solo game all about trying to brew the perfect cup of coffee. Yeah, you usually play kind of like 3 rounds that will give you different stipulations of like you need to have certain flavorings in there. You need to roast it to a just salt. You need to roast it to a certain level for ideal flavor. And so every round, the different coffee things you pull out of a bag will essentially like upgrade from a 1 to a 2 as they roast. You're cooking them for longer, for better term. You're brewing them longer. And so it's kind of like a push your luck game because you're trying to get this bag of chits to the right level. And there's some like raw beans that are no good for you. There's some like kind of defected beans and stuff. You're trying to get everything to the right spot and then choose when you're like, I think I have it. Then you go for the brew and you start pulling things out one at a time and you add them to your cup. You can kind of mulligan a couple things, but you're trying to brew the perfect cup. So you're trying to get everything in it so that your odds are the best when you start pulling, but then it's sort of kind of a press your luck game because you can over roast and burn stuff. And you're like, that causes you negative points. It's actually kind of a tricky puzzle. Yeah. And there's some interesting actions you can do by spending these kind of colorful flavor tokens and stuff. I think it's great. I think it's an awesome theme. Cool. I love that it's a solo game. Yeah. And you are just out here brewing coffee. So I really want to get this physically. I played in the app, which works really well, but I really want to play it physically because I think it could be a nice...
That's relaxing.
It'd be like having a cup of Joe.
You can have it while drinking a cup of Joe. It'd be great.
Boom. That's Coffee Roaster, my number 8.
All right, let's get number 7s. My number 7 is a game you played before me, for sure, but I finally got to play, and that is Nations the Dice game.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Nations the Dice game, which is the dice version of the game Nations. Nations is a big ol' through the ages type civilization game. And Nations the Dice game is a like 10, 15-minute filler. It's a very odd... it's one of the biggest changes from like big game to small game.
Similar like through the ages, like the Bronze Age, the roll and write
you're
version of that. You're like, wow, you packed a big old game into a very small package.
But no, this is a dice game. We're rolling out these dice, and it's just really, really cool. We also have the expansion, which allows you to start with your own like civilization.
Unrest expansion,
So
a
you
little
have,
bit of asymmetry.
Yeah, a little bit of asymmetry, and you have these unrest die, and it's just, I really, really liked it because you had been talking about it for a while because you played like Rainer,
playing
like
on
Croak and stuff.
Playing like 10 minutes.
And you were like, we gotta get it, we gotta play it, we gotta get it for over and over and over again. I was like, okay, cool, like I'm down. Like I was like, all right, whatever. And then we played it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I get why you were constantly talking about this game because it's a great little filler.
You build like this pool of dice that you keep from round to round, unless you replace them by replacing
and nice
on your
dice
sieve.
too, like
They're
really
nice dice. You can basically cover up this, and it's all like the theme. So it's like you have agriculture, and you might put in architecture or whatever, but it's just you trade this white die, now you get a blue die, which will have like more books or different or stone.
You're trying to specialize.
You're constructing wonders. You're getting leaders and stuff. So it has all that theming, but it's in a very simple kind of dice management.
Yeah,
game.
but it's a good. I like Nation's Dice game a lot. I'm glad that you constantly talked about it because it made me want to play it.
Nation's Dice is a good time, especially with that expansion. I like that pick. My number 7 is if you like Dominion, but you'd like to have a fantasy theme. Play Ascension. Ascension.
We finally played Ascension.
Finally, we got to play. It's a classic deck building game. It's a pure deck building game
where
where it's all about get some cards. You have some starter cards. Buy some better cards with that. Then you take those new cards. Probably going to buy some better cards with that. And you're trying to get points, and you can like you have this kind of row, and you can either spend your money, I'll say, to buy some cards, or there's monsters you can spend your kind of strength to fight those monsters, and then you gain those cards. So you can kind of have two currencies, I guess, is to spend. There's all sorts of expansions for this game. We played with a couple of them that give kind of, we had these like cards that would sort of upgrade to different types of cards if you met their conditions.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what expansion we played. I just know we played with a couple of them.
You just play with like a pool of points in there. When that pool is empty, you kind of finish out the round and you go. And I really enjoyed it. I like the art style. It's kind of old school looking, purposefully. And there's something beautiful about pure deck building games where it's like, just get better cards, buy those cards, get those cards, buy better cards.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat where I was like, I want a deck building game that does something like Clank, where it has like a board.
We have so much of that now.
And at the same time, I'm also kind of like, but there is something really good about
a
that
good,
just pure deck building. You start with the crappy handed cards, make it better.
Buy a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, it is good.
Yeah, Ascension really, I really quite enjoyed. I was like, I get it. Like, it's fantastic. Again, probably we would enjoy that over a Dominion because we just enjoy the theme world, better, the theming better.
But it's the same, but
it's the same thing. And I'm like, they are beautiful types of games to have, indeed. Yeah. So that's my number 7, Ascension.
Right. Let's get number 6. My number 6 is Ascension.
Oh!
So we don't need to talk about it because we just talked about it. It's really great. Pure deck builder. Boom, boom, boom. That's one crossover?
It's one crossover.
One crossover.
There's going to be more.
Pure deck building. It's great. We literally just talked about it. So,
all right. My number 6, Project L.
2 crossovers.
2 crossovers. You take the puzzle pieces, you put the puzzle piece
you put them in the thing.
You get a new puzzle piece. It's like a deck builder. Where you like put the puzzle thing in, you get the points, you get the piece, you get the thing, ramp it up. But I like Project L because it does have almost like that ramp up effect where you get better and better pieces. You have more pieces.
Because pieces get bigger.
You can build puzzles easier because you get like 3 actions per turn and stuff. So it ramps up nicely. Yeah, that game is fantastic. Project L is my number 6. We are officially in crossover territory with 2.
Probably more.
Let's get to number 5.
My number 5 is Bandido.
Oh, 3 crossovers. You guessed 5, I guess 6. I'm feeling a little bit better about mine.
I'm not feeling great about mine anymore. My number 5 is Bandido. For everything we talked about, we were introduced to this game by 2 of our good friends, and I then was like, Mike, we need to play Bandido. We need to play Bandido. And we finally played it, and then we'd never seen it in a store, and we finally, we're at a store in Sacramento where we grew up, and we just saw it. I was like,
the eagle eyes.
Oh, because it's a very small box.
And it was not like on a prominence.
No, it was like in some like weird undershelf. Yeah. But we got it, and again, this is a game that I love introducing people because again, anyone can play. It's like you have a card, play a card, make it make sense. This is what we're trying to do. End of explanation. Let's go. Yeah. Bandido's great. It's incredible.
My number 5 is an Uwe Rosenberg game that we didn't quite get to in 2020, got into in 2021. It's Hallertau.
Okay. Yeah, this one did make my list. I was also trying to get some older games on there,
Wow.
Didn't make my list.
Wow.
I
didn't
really
know you hate great games so much.
It's one of my favorite Uwe games.
All right, Hallertau is fantastic. If you like Uwe Rosenberg games, it's right in that kind of wheelhouse of like making farm happening and stuff. But I really enjoy this one because it feels like simpler to me. It's not a small game or anything, but like it feels
of the big uves.
Yeah, I like that the action spaces are simple. It's like if someone's been there once, their little cube will be there. There's just generic cubes for like your workers. And then the next time you go there, it costs 2, and then it costs 3. The things you gain and how everything's kind of laid out is fairly intuitive and simple. The iconography is good. And it's just resource management stuff, and you want to get these resources, turn them into upgrade your kind of different buildings and your community center and everything. It's just a solid game, and it's fairly good looking as well.
I think for an Uwe game particularly, it looks great.
Yeah, and that kind of card play that you get into is really satisfying. So I just enjoy it because we love Uwe Rosenberg games. So I'm like, yeah, this is another great one in the line of kind of big farming based.
I also didn't choose it because I knew he would have it on. So we'll get to talk about it.
I got you covered, my guy. But Hallertau,
do love Hallertau.
Super good. It's on number 5.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's go ahead and get into number 4.
I think there's no chance that there is not 4 crossovers moving forward.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, let's start.
So what are you're going to at 6, huh?
Huh?
Yeah. All right, we're going to go through them quick then because
I'm thinking. All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Coimbra.
Yeah, it's my number 4 too. Let's go. True crossover, number 1.
We probably could have just done one list, honestly, but hey, let's go.
Hey, you know.
Coimbra is, you particularly.
I've been wanting to play this game forever.
You saw the cover, like, I want to play that, and you've just been talking about it for years.
I saw it at Dice Tower Convention. This had to have been like 20. I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
It was the first one, and I'm like, what is that? It looks amazing. And then we didn't ever.
We played it like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Finally got to play it, and it lived up to the hype that I built it up in my head.
Jabs for teaching us, specifically Jabs.
Specifically Jabs. It's bumping tracks. If there's something I love, it's bumping tracks.
Bumping tracks and bright colors. Is there any better game than that?
I mean, just give me that thing.
Apparently 3 more, according to
that track.
list.
You're higher than that track. You get more stuff. That's great. Get up on this track. It gives you a lot of good stuff over here. You want to get on this track here because you got some good stuff over there to get. I love bumping tracks.
Yeah.
Coimbra is a fantastic game where you are kind of buying these cards that are going to bump those tracks. You are going to go to these different kind of outlying towns. You're going to use some resources. Might bump those tracks. You're trying to spend kind of your money and your guards and stuff as your 2 forms of currency. It's just like really fun.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed. It's fairly like straightforward.
It's not too complicated.
It's
really great though.
So why'd you like it?
The same reasons. It's really good. Bumping tracks, bright colors, love it. Now, it's really good. The card play is interesting. The forms of currency you have are interesting. There's lots of different phases in the games, and they all kind of work differently, and you can kind of like manipulate them in different ways. The scoring cards, super. It's just really, really, really good. And there's a lot of like variability with all the different kinds of stuff. So it's like there's got a lot of replayability there. And I want to get it really bad.
Yep. Really enjoyed Coimbra. Beautiful looking game. That's our number 4 collectively.
Yeah.
Will there be more true crossovers? Probably. Nick, moving forward, what do you think is the likelihood that we have true crossovers the entire way
there is
through?
a almost assured.
This is
chance.
I'm almost sure, but this is where it could fall apart.
Yes.
So your number 3 is
Yours?
Praga, Caput, Regni.
Mine is not Praga. Mine is Ginkgopolis.
Yours is Ginkgopolis. All right, that was the only thing. I didn't know if it was going to switch. All right, so you go and talk about Ginkgopolis.
Oh, so yours is, wow, okay. So Ginkgopolis is my number 3. It'll be Mike's number 2 probably. Ginkgopolis is a game that our good friend Steph Hodge has talked about. It's her favorite game, and she's talked about it nonstop, over and over and over again. And we kept being like, we got to try this Ginkgopolis because Steph really likes it. And we have similar tastes in games. We finally got it played and just bought it because we're like, let's just buy it, and man, is this game good. This is a very simple game where you can basically do like 3 things in the game. And that's it. You're basically, you have these cards, and then you have this like kind of like small town. You're building out these tiles on this town, and you are claiming influence over those tiles. So that you're trying to build like a big block of your influence to score. But then you also were playing out these cards, and the cards kind of dictate where you can build, basically. But then you get to put them into play, and then those cards give you, like now, every time you build a building, you'll also gain a point. It's like some engine building, but the engine building stuff is like 3 or 4 things. It's very, very small, but you just build these crazy engines out of them, where now it's like every time I build a tile, I will get like 3 points and like 2 influence and all this different stuff. And it just gets bananas, and it's really fun. Yeah. I really, really like it.
I'll talk more about it in a second, but it is beauty and simplicity is how I look at it.
It's super simple. It's great.
My number 3 is Praga, Caput, Regni, which is a Vladimir Suki game that we quite enjoy. Again, we got to this just after the new year.
This was like late last year. So this
would have
is
been
still like a relatively newish games. Yeah,
100%. And it would have been on our best of 2020 list had we gotten to it by that time. But Praga Caput Regni is just so fun because it really hits at a thing that we enjoy where there's bonuses to be found everywhere. If you do this thing, you can probably get a couple stone out of it. When you pull an action tile, you're going to have 2 options on there, but the space from the action crane they take from has some sort of bonus. It might be a point. It might be some gold. It might be that you can build a special tile instead of just a normal tile this round. So there's a lot of stuff to consider there. And you really kind of stretch those resources and really build up the town of Prague. You're trying to build up the Hunger Wall and the cathedral. It's just kind of a theme that I enjoy. I really like the look of it. It's kind of crazy and all over the place, but it's a good-looking game. And your action board, you can kind of upgrade stuff on your action board. You can get technologies that help make things cheaper for you. There's just a lot of fun to be had in this one. So for us, it just hits a lot of stuff we enjoy.
Yeah.
The action selection's interesting. It feels tight. You only have, so many turns in a game, but you get a lot done in that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one that
it's really good.
Really satisfies.
Yeah.
So that's Praga Caput Regni, my number 3. Probably his number 2. And you'll see my number 2 in a second. But let's get to those number 2s right now.
My number 2 is Praga Caput Regni, which means we're gonna have the same number 1, which I kind of expected. Yeah, I kind of figured our top couple of games would be the same. But yeah, Praga is everything Ike was saying. It's combos on combos. A lot of people don't like the look, think it's too busy. I like the look of it personally. Yeah. There's so many different routes you can go, so many different things you can do. They're all pretty darn viable. It's Vladimir Suki. Anything Vladimir Suki comes out with, we're always interested in. Praga is, it's probably my second favorite game of 2020, honestly, in terms of the entire year. I really, really, really like it. And we got to play it this year, so pumped about that.
Yeah, wreck nerds. My number 2 is Ginkgopolis. Yeah. Ginkgopolis is one of the most impressive games of all time. It does so much with so few moving parts. There's 3 colors. Everything goes down to the 3 colors. Yellow always gives you points. Red always gives you resources. Blue always gives you tiles. As Nick said, you build up this cool engine so fast. There's area control, engine building, resource management, all these things in this kind of simple package. Yeah. It's just, there's card drafting. Yeah. I just am in awe of how do they do
and it looks
all
really
those different things with only so few things. Yeah. It's amazing. It is such a good game. I'm glad it's kind of back in the world now, been reprinted, because for a long time it was very unavailable. And I'm just so happy we got to try it. I saw it in a store one day. I was like, well, I need to pick this up right now. And I did not expect to enjoy it so much. Yeah. Yeah. I love this game so much. Ginkgopolis is fantastic. Give it a try if you can. It's just got a lot of good stuff going for it. It's so good. That's really our number 2. So let's get into our co-number 1, because it's the only thing we haven't talked about yet. Let's hit it right now.
Our number 1 is Le Havre.
Nick, do we like Uwe Rosenberg?
We do like Uwe Rosenberg.
Do we like fish?
Yes.
We're going to love Le Havre.
That's true. That's true. Well, wait, what was the video where you were like, should we play Le Havre? And everyone was like, you need to play Le Havre.
It was, it was something recently.
Yeah, I know, but basically,
if we think of it, there'll be a card that showed up there, but we
were talking about Le Havre, and people were like, everyone in the comments, so you have to play Le Havre. And then the next day I was in a game store, and I saw it, and so I was like, whatever's going to buy it. Because I was like, it's Uwe Rosenberg, it's big Uwe Rosenberg. We've always heard it's good, and then everyone was telling us that we were going to love it. And we played it, I think that night or the next night, and we were both just like, wow, that's like an instant contender for top 10 for us, I think. It's like, it's just good. It's one of those things where I know Tom Vassell really likes this game. One thing he always says about it is there's only ever good choices. Yes. Where it's I can go here and get this awesome thing, or go over here and get this really awesome thing, or go here and get this really awesome thing. And there's never a time where it's well, I just can't do anything. Yeah. And it's not like the game is super open. It's it's still a tough game, but you always have good, cool options. And
there's a lot of pathways.
Man, it's really good.
So in this game, you're building up buildings around a harbor that anyone can use, and if it's in front of me and someone come visit, they might need to pay me a little bit of food or money to come use my building. Same if I go to yours, you can buy buildings, you can build up these resources. As you go from round to round to round, it's very much an Uwe Rosenberg, gotta feed your people game. And it becomes harder and harder and harder to feed your people, but you also have built up a little engine for yourself to make it so you can produce more and more food. And you're just trying to be the wealthiest. So every building you build will have a value on it that you can also just pay money for. But it's worth that amount of money at the end of the game for you. as you go through, you develop new technologies. You kind of start off with iron, but then you have the ability to turn iron into steel. You can get better and better energy production. You can turn wood into charcoal. Every chit you get in the game has basically two sides. Cattle become meat.
Yep.
You can have hides, which can be tanned to become leather.
Yep.
You can then sell that stuff. So you're just trying to make the most money. It's just a really solid, fun game. I really enjoy it. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
The special buildings, and we got the complete edition, so it has like an expansion of those different special buildings in there.
So we
Ton
do
of
have special
variability
buildings
from those
every
special
game.
buildings.
Yeah.
The base buildings stay the same. They do change based on player count to a degree.
Special
but those
buildings, it's like
buildings,
so many of them.
and they do all sorts of wacky stuff.
And that's the thing is like the game will change in a very Uwe way. The game will change a lot depending on what the special buildings are.
Yeah,
Because also
you
you're
pick
like,
it up.
oh, this one's all about bread. Well, shoot, maybe I'll like go super into like wheat and bread and stuff like that. And it's just like it's so freaking good.
It's
like,
so solid. The turns are super fast because you
yeah.
only take one
Especially
action.
two-player, it
by
just
visiting.
boogies at two-player, yeah.
It scales really well for player count. I've soloed it recently, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
It's just a super solid game. Really love Le Havre. So glad we picked it up. It's right up there for like one of my favorite Uwe. Now I'm like, ooh, it's just
Uwe
classic.
be doing Uwe.
Uwe be doing
But that's
Uwe.
our list. Lots of crossovers. Mike was right with 6. Again, we play games mostly together. It happens. But thank you so much for being here. Let us know down in the comments below what your biggest discoveries, the new to you games.
What's a new to you game that you liked?
And if you like us a lot, you can support us on Patreon. We're gonna have our Patreon scroll passes. We always do in top 10s. We really appreciate everyone who supports us on
patrons.
Patreon because it's
Waving at them.
Because it's just incredibly nice.
It
and
helps.
something they don't have to do, but they do anyway.
Yeah, it
and,
really
you
helps
know.
us keep going. So if you always liked our stuff and have a couple extra dollars in the new year, consider giving. We'd really appreciate
My
that.
man's having a baby, so you know.
I'm
Your boy, needs some diapers,
as much
you
money
know.
as I can get.
You got $1 to give for some diapers, you know. But nonetheless, thank you so much to our patrons. And keep an eye out for our top 10 games of 2021. Should be coming out in about a week. Also keep an eye out for our Gloomhaven in a Week challenge.
We're
which should
doing a
be coming out
Gloomhaven
soon.
speed run.
Yeah, that'll be coming out very
All
soon.
available scenarios %.
That's right.
Bam. Check that out. We will see you all in the next top 10. And have a great day, everybody.
Bye. Thanks so much for watching that video. Make sure to check out those videos. There's going to be something. Eventually, it'll probably be the top 10 games of 2021, but
Probably
not
that
right
Gloomhaven
now
video we're
because,
talking about.
you know. But nonetheless, make sure to support us on Patreon if you want to. Subscribe while you're here. Share the video around. Like it. You know what to do. It's YouTube.
Get after it, people.